Hello guys, welcome to my partner in crime YouTube video on Payday 2. Going to go over a stealth guide that I've just written in Steam, which is basically helping you level from infamy level 1 all the way to 100 during stealth. Now, as me, I don't particularly like Crime Spree, think it's a waste of time, and the spending of continental coins all the time is quite boring. I don't really like loud heist anyway, so I'm constantly doing the silent ones, so I may as well do silent stealth jobs anyway normally, and if I have to restart them I don't have to waste my continental coins. Anyway, getting back to the picture, I wrote the guide the other day and I thought I'd cover it in a YouTube video, add it to YouTube. I can link it to the guide as well, and then that way if there are people out there that can struggle to read like myself, they're not going to struggle, they can just watch the video instead. So we're going to go over the heists that I've picked that I think are quite good for leveling, and also weapon choices, mods, and for solo as well as teamwork, and also other bits and pieces of perks and skill points that you can use to help you through Payday. So first things first, we're going to talk about the job choices. Now, I've picked Ukrainian job for the first job. Now, you're probably wondering why, but I think that going into a higher end tier of heist for your first heist when you've got no perks whatsoever or no points, it's pretty pointless. Like, I used to do Diamond Store, and Diamond Stores, I used to have to waste all the civilians, and I could only have one ECM, and I was leaving things behind. So I think Ukrainian job for the first job is a pretty easy job. There's normally only 2 or 3 guards on the map and maybe 2 police officers, and there's about 12 civilians, so it doesn't really affect you that much. So but it does give you a really good boost of levels so that you can go into better heists further down the line. So if you start with the Ukrainian job, I think that's a good place to start. The next heist after that is the jewelry store, and we go on to the diamond store. Then after that we go over to Shadow Raid, Art Gallery, then the bank jobs. What I tend to do is bank job nightclub, bank job yacht heist, bank job Shacklethorne, bank job diamond heist. So you do all 3 different types of bank heist as well as a different heist, and then you finally go over to the Lesso heist, train heist, Golden Grin, First World Bank, San Martin, Bullet Mansion, Border Crossings, and then I do Dockyard, Election Day Big Bank, Framing Frames, and then if I remember rightly I actually didn't do Golden Grin where I said I was. It's actually after Framing Frames, so forget that. Do Train Heist, First World Bank, San Martin, Bullet Mansion, Border Crossings, Dockyard, Election Day Big Bank, Framing Frames, and Golden Grin. And you should be able to go up a full infamy with that. If you haven't after that, then there are other things that you can do, like breakfast in Tijuana. You can add that in, and White House. Just notice that White House will be inside that 10 marker bracket. So between bank job and train heist, you can fit a White House in there as well for the extra 10% stealth bonus, which is an extra heist. And breakfast in Tijuana is a 15, so you could put that in between First World Bank and say Border Crossings. Dockyard, if I remember rightly, gives you a 20%, or is it 15? I can't remember. I think it's a 15% bonus for stealth heist if you do Dockyard. Election days are 20%. Big Bank's only 15%, but it's got quite a heavy experience boost on it, so you get quite a fair bit of XP from those heists. So those heists are the ones that I would recommend tallying in with Election Day and Framing Frames would be the Alesso heist, Bullet Mansion, Big Bank, and Golden Grin, because they're quite heavy on XP, so you'll get quite a lot of XP for completing Golden Grin. Bullet Mansion's quite good for XP as well. Big Bank is very good for XP, I found, and the other one which I've just mentioned, which is the Alesso heist. And obviously every single infamy that you go up, so your first infamy you'll get a 10% boost, then you'll get 7.5, 10, 7.5, 10, 7.5, 10, etc, etc, until you get to 25, and you should have a 205% XP boost as you go through. And as and when you go through your infamies, you'll notice that you'll probably reach your infamy before you complete the rest of the heists. But I still recommend completing the heist list, because you want to start that next heist with having completed, say, Golden Grin Casino as the last heist, because you'll have extra points for Ukrainian job. I mean, you could end with framing frames and then just go straight onto Ukrainian job for a 25% boost. That would be fine, and move Golden Grin back to where the 10s are. That wouldn't be a massive issue, to be fair. But that's just a rough idea of what to do during your heist if you are stealthing. Again, going back over to the weapons choices. Now, I use the Akimbo Shimano custom pistols. They're called the Glock 22Cs in Wolf HUD, and my secondary is exactly the same thing. Now, you'll notice that I don't have very many weapons. I've only got my Akimbo pistols, an over 9000 saw, and the Union 5.56 rifle. I've got the drill for stealth heist, and the Union is for my stoic build. And my secondary weapons, I've got a Shimano 88. I have no idea what it's called in Wolf HUD, but I think it might even be the 18C. I'm not sure, I can't remember. Yes, I think it's the 18 Glock, but I can't remember. That's pretty much a singular pistol that I use for my first heist, because I can't use the Shimano custom pistol until level 20. And the same with the Judge as well, so you can't use either of those until you're level 20. So it's just an idea to have that extra weapon, so you can at least start your heist with having a single pistol. And I have the Judge as well. The Judge can be very handy for taking out camera rooms or to opening doors, etc, etc. I like it, but it depends on the ammo you use. I've got the AP ammo on, so I can take out camera rooms when I want to. If I'm soloing, I normally take it with me, so I can take the camera rooms out through the wall, and I can rush around. It comes in handy for things like border crossings and stuff like that, so take that in mind when using it. It's a good weapon, but you'll need to make sure that you've got the right ammo in it. Going over the mods, they're pretty much identical to each other. So the Shimano custom pistol has the same mods on it on my single as it does on my dual. So apart from two things, so I basically use the Rocktech suppressor because it's a very good suppressor and it's got a low concealment debuff on it. I add the team boost in on primarily most of my primary weapons, apart from the Oversaw, which I use concealment on. I've got a micro laser, which is pretty pointless. There's no point really having a laser on unless you use the lasers mod that I've recently found, which fixes the inaccuracy with the lasers. But the air grow grip, and then the extended magazine, and then the long slide. The only difference between my single pistol and my Akimbo pistols are literally the boost. Instead of having a team boost, I've got the concealment boost, and I've added the red dot. So when you go over to single pistols, and I'll show you the modifications on that, like the boost is concealment, and I've got the Skull Reflex micro sight on top. Which is what I like. It gives you very good stats once you've actually, you know, if I highlight the Akimbo custom pistols down the bottom left hand corner, I've got magazine size of 66, total ammo 144, rate of fire 361, 81.2 damage, 92 accuracy, 80 stability and 29 concealment. And as you can see, my detection risk is 3. On the single it's pretty much the same thing but a slightly higher on stability. That's because the Akimbos get a stability debuff which I fix during the perk points. So perk deck I use is Burglar. I really like Burglar. I found that it's really beneficial for what I like. Tool wise, I always take my trip mines as a primary and a secondary ECM. Sometimes I may switch between the two depending on the heist. So when I need 2 ECMs, I'll take 2 ECMs because some heists I don't particularly need the trip mines. Things like a Lesso, don't really need them, but 2 ECM jammers is handy. But trip mines mainly for things like Diamond Store, Shadow Raid, Nightclub they come in handy for. There's a lot of heists where they're really handy, so you know where guards are, so you don't end up walking into them, and you get 12 if you upgrade them. So I use the buzzer for my melee weapon. I mean brass knuckles or the buzzer is pretty much where you want to be, and the 2PC. Crew management doesn't really matter because you're going to be on your own anyway unless you're teaming up with other people. So you're never really going to use your characters unless you're going loud. Stealth points on the other hand. Now I'm going to go over the stealth build that I've got, and I really like it. It works really well for stealth, I found, and I'm going to go over the reasons for my choice. Now I've got forced friendship that increases my supply of cable ties by 4. You can cable tie hostages 75% faster as well. Confident, that is the power of intimidation, is increased by 50%. And Stockholm Syndrome, civilians are intimidated by the noise you make and remain intimidated 50% longer. It basically means when you're trying to get civilians on the floor, they're going to stay on the floor longer. It means that they're less likely to dial for the police. So if you don't want to lay an ECM, or if you run out of ECMs, you've run into a building with loads of civilians, you can just tie them up. Yeah, job done. So you don't tend to need an ECM for tying civilians up, but it can be there for a handy use. If one of you have it and you're with a teammate, or 2 or 3, you can just tie the civs up and you don't really need to worry about an ECM. ECMs are handy for that rush, but hey ho, you don't really need to put one down. You can get most civs on the floor without a particular running away situation if you use those skills. I've got stable shot for the 8 stability and 16 accuracy while standing still. I mean I pretty much stand still when I take a shot, or I'm on crouching, so it comes in handy to have that extra accuracy while walking around. And to be fair, I had the extra points available to me that I didn't really want to spend, so I spent them on that. Enforcer, I mean I've got Scavenger. I needed that because of the portable saw. I don't actually use it as a secondary weapon, I use it as a primary weapon because I prefer using my singular pistol at all times. I'm very fond of it because of the red dot. Like I said, the actual laser is not very accurate, so I kind of like the red dot because that is actually accurate. But I like it because when you ace it, you get the extra saw blade as well. So I tend to use that, and it also replaces your saw blade with a carbon blade, which makes it slightly better. But I use a durable blade instead, and I found that the durable blade is actually really particularly good. You could, if you had a partner with you, so like you teamed up, you could get your partner to take extra lead so that their ammo bags are increased in size, and they can place 2 ammo bags down as well. So things like San Martin, where you need quite a lot of ammo if you're using a portable saw, comes in handy. So if you both take an ammo bag, or you can even place an ammo bag on the map, It's not really that difficult to do. Just remind yourself that the closest place you can actually put those ammo bags in San Martin are actually where the mechanic is and where the truck's going to be when you drop off the loot. So it's a bit of a trek backwards and forwards when you've only got 3 blades and you've got to trek from there back and forth. It's just a pain in the ass. So I normally tend to take an ammo bag with me, dump it on the table, and job done. But at the moment, I took that away because, to be fair, 400 ammo, 800 ammo for all 3 safes areas is actually enough, believe it or not. Yeah. Right, engineer. I've gone for third law, eco sentry, and jack of all trades, aced. Now, the reason I like having 2 deployables. There's always a time and place for 2 deployables. It's very handy to have 2. Like I said, trip mines, ECMs. You've only got to hit the X button, and you can change between your trip mines and your ECMs. I've got breacher, hardware expert, and drill saw sergeant, aced. That decreases the amount of times that your drills take to open vaults and safes, etc., doors and bits and pieces. So it does come in handy. I mean, sometimes when you go to like a bank job, you can talk about 6 minutes before opening a safe, whereas using that, I mean, you're talking about 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes. So time wise, it's handy to have that skill, and I needed it really because I want the extra firepower. So I've gone for more firepower, which basically increases my trip mines by 4 and 7. So I've then got 14 trip mines, I think it's 14, which is really handy to have. I've gone for oppressor, the steady grip. That gives me 8 weapons accuracy and again 16 stability, which is very, very handy for those akimbos where you get the debuff. So Shinobi Tree is the next one in the Ghost spec. I've gone Chameleon, aced for the detection and masking, casing mode, and you can pick up items while you're casing. So if you're walking around, you need to pick up a key card, you can pick that up if you use Chameleon Ace. Sixth Sense, that's the ability to automatically mark enemies on the map with a 10-meter radius after standing still for 3.5 seconds. You can stand at a wall and you know where guards are, or even civilians. It comes in handy to know that they're there. You also gain insider assets. Cleaning costs after killing a civilian is reduced by 75%. If you don't like killing civilians, or if you do, that's going to be your pick and choice. I've got cleaner on just 1 point. I never take 2 body bag cases with me. I don't normally heist on my own, so I'm normally with a large group of people, and they normally have body bags on them, and I can, like I said, I can always shove a body bag case down on the actual map itself if I want one. But that just increases my body bag infantry to 3 spaces instead of just having 1, and it's quite annoying just to have 1 body bag on you at a time. Now you can have up to 3. I've got nimble on ace. It's the ability to disable cameras for 25 seconds, as well as lock picking 100% faster. You can unlock doors quicker, safes, etc. You can use with the ECM override. I've got that aced. Your ECM jammer feedback duration is increased by 25%, and you can use ECM jammers to open up certain doors, electronic doors that is. Camera rooms is primarily where you want to go with that one. So an ECM specialist. Now I've got that on because sometimes I will switch between my ECMs and my trip mines. Sometimes I'll only take trip mines as a secondary because someone else might be in the heist and they may have trip mines on them too. So you tend not to, you need to work with your group and find out what your group is taking if you're in a group. It's always very handy to know what they're using, and if they're using trip mines as well, you can just plan out your trip mines and lay them down, and you've got then enough trip mines and you can take ECMs just in case you need them. I don't tend to ace it unless I really need to. I find that delaying the pager can be quite annoying. You can lay an ECM down and then hit a guard, it gets detected, and it will delay the pager. That can be quite an annoying skill in places like, say, First World Bank. It can be also handy, to be fair, but at the same time it can be a pain in the ass if you end up tripping 3 pages all at once and you've only got 2 of you to do it. You know, it's ways and means. So I don't really like it, but I mean, to be fair, it wouldn't be that difficult for you to remove some points from somewhere, like maybe let me think. For those times that you don't really need the saw, I suppose you could take the points away from there and have that in if need be, but to be fair, I don't particularly use it, and I'm infamy level 35, and I don't particularly use the ECM feedback at all for basically delaying pages. I've just never used it. So I've got parkour and duck and cover on. That gives you a little bit movement boost. I've got second wind, normal, aced optical illusions, and professional aced. That will give me my concealment that I need with silenced weapons, and I've got the 8 stability, snap to zoom silent weapons, and some extra accuracy, which is quite handy again. Over in the gunslinger window in fugitive, I've got equilibrium aced. That decreases the draw and holster of pistols. I've also got the 8 accuracy on pistols, which again is handy. I've got a Kimbo on because again the stability penalty is quite harsh, and that just reduces it by 16 points if you ace it, and also you get 50% ammo capacity on top. Gun nut for the pistol size, so your pistol magazine size is increased by 5 bullets. Which again comes in handy. You might say, why? You've got an extended mag, you don't really need it. Well, there may be a time where you do, and it's always handy to have extra ammo, especially in a clip, so you don't have to constantly keep refreshing your ammo, or you don't need to constantly keep reloading after shooting. You could just move off. I would suggest that you reload every time you take a shot. It's just get used to the idea of reloading. You've always got a full clip then. And I've got one-handed talent aced as well, which increases the pistol damage by 15 if you ace it. If you only get a basic, you'll only get 5. If you ace it, you'll get the extra 10. I like it because, hey, when you get alerted by a guard, their health will go up, and you need some decent damage behind your weapons. If you've got low damage, that will help fix the problem. Like I said, the Caminos for customs, you get quite a good damage with them. So as long as you're using headshots and, you know, emptying a clip into them normally, you'll get it down within like 4 shots, maybe 2, 3 if you're lucky. That's going over the points. Now I'm going to go over where I pick my points. So my first pick of choice after the Ukraine job is going for Force, Friendship, Confidant and Stockholm Syndrome, and I tend to try and work on my points for things like second wind, optical illusion, or tend to try and get jack of all trades and more firepower. It just depends on the time. So it's knowing what skills to purchase as and when you're going up the heist list. So for things like Diamond Store, that's where I want hardware expert, drill saw sergeant, the extra firepower, jack of all trades. That comes very in handy. When I go over to Shadow Raid, I normally tend to basically work on my cleaner skills, parkour and duck and cover, things like that, because those skills do come in handy. I mean, Shadow Raid's quite big. I mean, the Ukraine job and the jewellery store, they're very small maps, so that you don't really have to worry about a large space. Whereas Diamond Stores, it's like a medium-sized map, whereas Shadow Raid's quite a large map. So being able to move around that quickly, it can be very handy. And if you trip the alarm, you've only got 15 seconds to move your ass to the van, so it can be really handy to get across that map quickly. Things for like bank job, that's where you want to work on points for, say, your drill, because this is why I have the drill. I use my drill for bank heists. Most of the bank job, well, all of the bank jobs I use it with. I don't take it with me on Golden Grin. You may think why. I've had a problem on Golden Grin where I took it once before and it set the alarms off and tripped all the civilians. Used it in Go Bank once as well, and that did the same thing. No idea why. I've got the silent motor on it, so I have no idea it tripped off the civilians. But I do take it on Big Bank. I do take it on San Martin. So the 4 bank jobs that you can do, the random gold, cash and gold ones, I use it on San Martin and Big Bank. Anywhere else I don't really tend to use it, but I always have the skills on there anyway, because hey, you never know when you might change your mind about the way you run your heists or whatever. So and I just wanted an overall build that can be good, that once I'm 100 I can do everything without keep changing my skill points around to meet each heist. I just want a build that I can use no matter what, because at the moment I'm not leveling up because I'm trying to get a friend of mine to the same level I am, and I'm holding back on going up my infamys until they're at the same level I am. So I'm at level 35 at the moment, they're only on 19, so I'm trying to get them from 19 to 35, so they're then next to me, and it makes life a little bit easier for me as well. And I don't mind really hanging around and waiting, to be fair. I'm in no rush to get to 100, so I've got plenty of time to do it, and I love Payday, I play it most of the time, so yeah. Right, going over other bits and pieces that we can focus on. Maybe a few technical things that we can talk about, which is making sure that you take the right weapon for the right thing. Now I've said in the guide, be careful when using your akimbo pistols, because when you fire a shot you will fire 2 rounds. So if you're by windows and you're shooting a guard, one bullet's going to go into the guard and the other one's going to go straight through the window, so just be aware of that. Try and aim for walls or a place where you're not going to aim for a window if you're using your akimbo. That's why I prefer taking a single pistol. I can fire one shot only, and it'll only hit the guard, and that's it. It's not going to hit anything else. It's why I gave up with using the judge, because you end up hitting the guard as well as a window. It's never a good thing. So especially if you've got a lot of guards around, for say things like the diamond heist, for instance, where you're working around a lot of glass, it's a problem. And the same thing for, like, say, oh, there is a heist I missed out, the diamond. Yeah, the diamond heist. I've actually missed that on the list of heists. Sorry, I'm going to have to put that in. That's another heist I need to put back in the guide. I will update it and put it back in, because that's actually a particularly good heist with some pretty good XP on it. Other than that, you're welcome to grab my attention on Steam. If there's a heist that you want me to host, or you just want some people to play alongside, you're welcome to follow me, and we can heist together. I pretty much do most of these heists daily, so if there's a heist that you haven't completed and you just want to go over it once or twice, if you just want to get the achievements or you're struggling to do it, I pretty much stealth all the time. I love stealth. I don't particularly like loud builds, to be fair, in loud heists. They kind of bore me. You know, yeah, it takes a lot of skill to play them, but to be fair, to get around a map without alerting guards and bits and pieces, there's a lot of skill that goes into that too. And I prefer being the silent type, so I find it a lot of fun. So yeah, and there's a lot of different heists you can do. I mean, there's quite a fair few heists that you can do, both stealth and loud, so I like them. So yeah, feel free to hit me up on Steam, add me, and we can run a few heists together. It won't be an issue. Thank you for paying attention. I hope you liked the video, and I will see you soon. Take care, guys. Bye.